It's okay, I'm fine. You got me stuck right here and I wanna rewind. Blood on my shirt. You tried to keep it clean, but I'm easily hurt.
Hey there folks, Wrel here. Today we're going to be reviewing the new Conglomerate's LMG directive weapon, the GODSAW. We'll compare it to the default NC6 GODSAW and hopefully help you get a better idea of whether or not the weapon is worth pursuing. The GODSAW is a directive reward for completing an Auraxium Medal on 5 different LMGs. Full disclosure is that most of these directive weapons were gifted to me so that I could share the reviews with all of you. Since the GODSAW is a derivative of the default NC6 GODSAW, the general feel is the same, but there are a few standout features that separate them. In short, the GODSAW gets a built-in compensator without hipfire or detection range penalties. It gets built-in high-velocity ammo without the recoil penalty, and it has a shorter reload with a smaller magazine size, alongside some other tweaks to accuracy and cone of fire. When it comes to damage, the GODSAW deals 200 damage up to 10 meters, dropping off to 167 damage at 105 meters. The default GODSAW drops to the same 167 at only 85 meters. The increased damage isn't overwhelming, but it is also free because the normal vertical recoil penalty from HVA isn't applied to the GODSAW. 200 damage up to 10 meters and 167 afterwards means 5 to 6 body shots to kill or 3 headshots at any range. Like the default GODSAW, the GODSAW fires at 500 rounds per minute or 8.33 rounds per second. You have a theoretical 5-shot time to kill of 0.48 seconds, a 6-shot time to kill of 0.6 seconds, and a 3-headshot time to kill of 0.24 seconds. Now keep in mind that this is theoretical, meaning that you don't miss any shots and bullet travel is instant. In actual play though, bullet travel isn't instant, and the GODSAW has a projectile velocity of 670 meters per second, where the standard GODSAW can only reach 630 with high velocity ammo equipped. The GODSAW holds 65 rounds per magazine and 260 in reserve, and it reloads in 4.2 seconds short and 5 seconds long. By comparison, you have 35 less rounds per magazine than the GODSAW, but a 2.3 second faster short reload and a 1.5 second faster long reload, which is a lot more manageable. This is a huge boost. Even though you drop 35 rounds per magazine, 65 rounds is still a lot of ammo, and with the shorter reload, it's much more usable as a weapon all around, because despite how large your magazine is, you're going to need or want to reload eventually, and when you do, you're going to be very vulnerable until it's done. When it comes to recoil, the GODSAW kicks straight up with relatively low shake to the left and right. On the first shot, it kicks up 0.72 degrees, and subsequent shots will kick it 0.44 degrees. Also, during each shot, the weapon will shift left or right 0.14 degrees, and it won't move more than 4 kicks in one direction before coming back to center. Put all this together and you get a weapon that kicks very hard vertically, especially on the first shot, and doesn't shake a lot per kick left and right, but it can move a lot in one direction, which can throw off your accuracy. That basically means that you want to fire in much shorter bursts and pull down hard on the mouse to compensate for the recoil. The default GODSAW kicks a little bit harder and it shakes a little bit more without attachments, but if you end up throwing a forward grip on it and a compensator on it, you'll get better overall recoil than the GODSAW, except that the vertical is very slightly higher. The difference between the two weapons isn't outstanding in this respect, but it's definitely noticeable. When it comes to cone of fire, the GODSAW, like the GODSAW, has a 0-degree standing cone of fire, meaning that if you're standing still, there is no cone of fire at all. You get 100% accuracy on the first shot. While moving, you have a 0.4 aim down sights cone of fire with a 0.07 bloom, and while moving from the hip, you have a 4.25 cone of fire with a 0.14 bloom on each shot. As of making this video, the standard GODSAW has a 0.5 moving aim down sights cone of fire instead of 0.4, but that will also be changing once the new LMG changes go live. And when it does, both weapons are going to be even at a 0.4 moving aim down sights cone of fire, which puts it on par with the T9 Carve and many other LMGs, making it more competitive. Like all Auraxium weapons, the GODSAW is unable to equip attachments beyond your scope selection. I've personally found the 2x reflex and IR NV the most suitable, but this almost always comes down to personal preference. The integrated attachment options and faster reloads leaves the GODSAW a much better all-rounder than its older brother, the GODSAW. But the traditional GODSAW can also specialize a little bit more in the accuracy department, thanks to the forward grip providing slightly larger gains, but it does come at bigger cost to other areas, like your hip fire, like your detection range due to the compensator, or the slightly lower damage and bullet velocity if you don't want to incur the penalty from high velocity ammo. And it's because of this, and more importantly the 0.4 aim down sights cone of fire, which is going to be normalized soon, that the GODSAW is considered a straight upgrade over the GODSAW by a lot of players. I'd basically agree with that because in most playstyles it's super solid without the typical downsides. But in a straight up point hold situation, where people are generally running into your bullets and movement is much less of an issue, I think that the traditional GODSAW still wears the crown thanks to that improved accuracy and larger magazine size. That said, the strategies for using the GODSAW are the same as they are for the original. Tap strafing, so instead of outright holding down the keys, it's more like a stutter step, will let you capitalize on that standing aim down sights cone of fire whenever it's possible. This is of course in addition to bursting. I tend to burst in shots of 2 to 5 depending on the range, and the engagement range that I would recommend for using both weapons is around 25 to 50 meters. Anything closer than that and the lower rate of fire can be overwhelmed by weapons more suited to the role. Since I'm generally trying to engage targets further out, and since I'm also tap strafing, the weapon felt a lot better using resist shield opposed to adrenaline. And just so everyone knows, I rarely enjoy using resist shield, but this weapon just made it feel right. Typically, you'd couple resist shield with an advanced shield capacitor suit slot, and that'll give you a lot of uptime. I was also noticing some larger than normal drawbacks when not running at least one tier of the battle hardened implant. Battle hardened lowers your flinch and screen shake, and if you're using a lower rate of fire weapon, missed shots are a really big deal. For most weapons, I can live with or without battle hardened, but in this case, I feel like it made a pretty substantial difference. If this video has been interesting, helpful, or entertaining, please feel free to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, and if you have any experience or thoughts on the GODSAW directive weapon, go ahead, leave those in the comments section down below. Thanks very much folks, Wrel signing off.